Order. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is charged with conducting hearings to determine whether an alleged violation of the city code has occurred. Decisions made by this quasi-judicial board will be based on the evidence and facts presented this evening. Our meetings are conducted in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, and each case will begin with the city presenting its evidence of the alleged violation. The respondent will then present his or her case. Both parties will have an opportunity to cross-examine all witnesses. The board members may question any witness. Comments by both parties must be relevant to the case. Persons wishing to speak will be given an opportunity to do so by the chairman and must address the board from the podium after giving their name and address. Upon request, copies of materials submitted by staff are available for review. Board members are reminded to obtain permission to speak from the chair, and questions of the city should be directed to the attorney for the city. At this time, I'd like to ask all persons who expect to give testimony tonight to please stand and be sworn in by the city clerk.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony or evidence you're about to give or present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
On occasion, we do take cases out of order to accompany the respondents and witnesses that are in tonight's meeting, and tonight is one of those times. For the board's attention, if you go to the last page, or next to the last page, we have case number 0564. We'll be hearing that case first, and then 0430, the case above it, we'll be hearing that case second. At this time, I'd like to ask if any board members have had any ex parte communications. If you have, please tell us the nature of it, whether it was written or oral, and generally the subject matter of the communication. Starting with you on the end, sir.
No.
I've had none.
Had none.
I've had none.
I've had none.
Had none.
I've had none.
Thank you all. Okay, first is the minutes of the regular meeting held on February 10th, 2021. Had the board members received the minutes of February 10th, 2021?
Yes.
Yes.
Are the meetings acceptable? And if so, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
A motion to approve, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Okay, on to the first case.
Repeat case number 210564, City versus Pascal G. Felix and Natalie S. Ennis Felix for the property located at 417 Bellevue Avenue. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 1034, Sanitation, Keep Premises Clean, and Section 810214A, Fences, Maintain in Good Repair. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Jose Silva. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members. Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This is a repeat violation. I presented this case to the MCEB on August 12, 2020, MCEB 20-2290, for duty to keep premise clean, debris in yard, cluttered carport, plywood across the carport, and fences in disrepair. The respondent was found guilty and fined $25 a day beginning September 10, 2020, until the violations were corrected. Prior to the compliance date, the violations were corrected and no fine accrued. On inspection on January 5, 2021, I noted the carport to be cluttered with furniture and other items, and the side yard fence again in disrepair. On February 2, 2021, Director Baroni requested a repeat notice of violation to be completed. Since the property is posted with no trespassing signs, he posted the notice at the owner's residence and delivered a copy to the property manager. The notice was posted at City Hall and were also mailed both certified and regular mail to the registered owner. During my inspection on February 8, 2020, the fence in disrepair was removed and brought into compliance. On February 12, 2021, I noted the carport still cluttered. On March 3rd, 2021, I noted plywood placed across the front of the carport. Another inspection on March 8, 2021 noted the carport cleared and property in compliance. This time I'd like to submit the MCEB order from August 12, 2020, and 6 photographs of the property.
We'll accept those, thank you. So as of March 8th, 2021, it was in compliance with all code violations?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how long was it out of compliance?
I'm fixing to give you that.
Okay,
The first violation for the fence was out of compliance for 33 days at $25 a day, which comes to $825. The second violation, beginning January 5th through March 7th, was a cluttered carport. It was out of compliance for 61 days at $25 a day, was $1525, for a grand total of $2350.
okay, so 33 days for one, 61 for the other, total of $2,350 of accrued fines.
The fines.
Okay,
And sir, I'd like to submit the affidavit of compliance.
we'll accept that, thank you. And just for the edification of the board, should this property become not in compliance once again, what happens?
It'll
Maybe
be,
that's a question for council.
it will be a repeat of a repeat.
Right, but does the fine structure change, or does, what if anything changes?
That is to the board decided. That is for the board to decide. The previous was $25 a day.
Okay,
So unless y'all change it right now on your ruling to increase the daily fine. So it's up to y'all.
David, we can, you know, like whatever fine we agree on, if it's less, we can, if it repeats the third time, we can impose paying the difference.
that's what I was getting at, is
Yeah.
you have that discretion?
Is that, I don't
And I
know,
believe it's a repeat, so it can go up to what, $500 or something? Yeah, yeah,
Per day?
yes. That's at your discretion, and that's what I wanted to bring out. Okay, any questions for the code officer? Go ahead.
So have you had any conversation with the owners about why they're having problems keeping this property in compliance?
It's a rental, and the property manager is here tonight.
Okay.
Is this the property where we have an angry tenant? Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, okay.
And one other, do you have a recommended amount that you,
I gave the $2350. It's up to y'all to decide what you want to go with.
okay.
Would you repeat how many days of violations that was, and how many repeat times it was again?
Violation number 1 was out of compliance for 33 days.
And that's the repeat portion of it.
Repeat portion. Number 2, second violation was out of compliance for 61 days.
Again, that's the repeat portion of the 61 days for, and it was an in repeat violation for 61 days on the second violation.
So you're suggesting $23.50. That's your suggestion. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the code officer? Thank you. Did the property manager want to say anything?
Robert Picciarelli, University Realty, 11007 North 56th Street, Suite 204, Temple Terrace. Home address, 618 Druid Hills, Temple Terrace. It's been an ongoing problem with the gentleman. He's not, I don't want to say an angry person. He's a bit of a hoarder. He's had a problem with cats, things like that. It's been ongoing for me. We've been doing it. We finally got it, cleared up, but I've been over there numerous times. The fence was taken down by the owner originally. Everything but one little portion over there where they allowed us to keep it. There was a trailer in back of it on the side of the house. And then we had an agreement. He was supposed to be out by the 31st of December, all right? The place he had fell through, couldn't get out. And when we tried to pursue it, John McMillan's handling the eviction. He got a lawyer and pulled his what do you call it? The COVID restrictions, so we couldn't do anything until the 31st. In the meantime, it's hard to do this while you're going through an eviction, all right? And an angry tenant, but we did it, and we were over there. I got the fence taken down. Actually, he took the fence down for us, but then obviously now we're sitting there with this trailer, all right? We got rid of the trailer about, I don't know how many days, 3-4 days after that. And I was just talking to Jose before. I mean, and I'm talking to him. I said, you've still got stuff in this carport that you don't need. So he relented, and I finally got it out. He took it out and everything
Being
else.
cooperative, just slow.
And I told him, I said, look, the bad thing is, you know, we need to go on with this property. You've been in there 11 years. It's not like you just moved in. But I said, you're in there and you're incurring fines. That's the bad thing. You know what I mean? It's just about moving you out. But you know, I talked to John McMillan. I said, there's nothing else I can do. I've done everything to throw myself at the mercy of the board. But you know, it's been a struggle, but we've got it into compliance. I realize if it goes out again, and hell, it could, I don't know, before he moves out and everything else, then we wouldn't, you know,
He's still
continue to
there.
incur fines.
He's still there as of today.
Yes,
Are you still pursuing the eviction?
yes.
Go ahead, Rod.
But they've got something on it, about March 31st or something. We can't do anything else now because his attorney's over at St. Pete. He wants to move. It's very hard in the rental market right now, and I do a lot of rental. I just can't, you know, I was helping to find him something outside of Temple Terrace, you know, if I could, and he was willing to go to Zephyr Hills. We got all sorts of places. But the other problem is we did an eviction. So you know how hard it is to find a rental while you've got an eviction going. I've even written gracious letters. Oh, it wasn't about money, you know, we just wanted possession of the property. But it wasn't to any avail.
If a fine is imposed on this property, are you going to be able to recover any of that through the rental, or
Well, we haven't been taking rent
or
from
you have
him.
not?
Well, no, we were instructed not to.
Oh, okay.
If we're taking rent, then we're condoning, you know, him living. How you take a rent if you're doing an eviction?
The eviction.
So we haven't been able to do it. I mean, the people are good people that own it. He's not a bad person. He's just a little, you know, it's hard to explain it. Not that he's my best friend or anything else, but we've been dealing with him for a long time. We've got a lot of properties there. But he just, I mean, I tried to explain to him, Mike, you can't put tarps over your house. You know, it looks like Fort Apache over here. This is ridiculous. You know, people, well, the cats, no, you can't do that.
Are you talking about the owner or the renter?
I'm talking about the renter. The owner really has nothing to do with it. We manage it and have for years, and this is all started up probably within the last 4 or 5 years, where he has this thing about cats pooping in his place, and the people around there have a lot of feral cats, and that's how it started, all right? And it's gotten worse since then. That's why he puts these tarps over there so they can't get in. And it's not, he doesn't like cats, he doesn't like cat stepping in cat.
How much did it cost you to do all that?
To do what?
Whatever cleanup and whatever. And
There-
time.
Well, he did a lot of it, probably with the fence, you know, unfortunately, I work for free. It's probably cost us maybe about $1,500, $1,600. He's done a lot of it, but it's just, you've got to keep going over and pressing.
Okay. Any other
It's
questions?
not an easy situation.
Yeah.
We're doing the best we could.
What would your desired resolution here be right now?
Minimize fines, obviously, you know, we've come into compliance. I know it's been a while, but it's been a struggle to do it. And, you know, I realize the liability if it happens again. We're staying on it. We're not neglecting it. We've tried, the owner through us, we've tried to do everything we can. It's a weird situation. Hopefully, we can get him maybe another place by sometime in April, I guess, because I don't think I'll be able to get him by March. I haven't found anything.
Can I ask a question? Wasn't this brought up in another board meeting some months?
Yeah, that's a repeat. Yeah,
It's a
he was here back in December.
Apparently, this man has been a menace to the neighborhood horribly. I mean, just not a small amount, but a huge amount. So is there anything that we could do? Probably not, to put a fire under someone to get rid of them.
Well,
Because he's
well,
been
they're
a-
trying,
been a-
yeah.
We're already trying
Trying
to
to
do that.
evict.
Finding isn't gonna put a
Oh, there's
fire
not-
out there.
there's-
We understand the
let me
situation.
answer
He
your
does
question.
too. He wants to move.
There's nothing this board can do to accelerate the eviction and get him out here, you know, unless you want to go find him a place.
There's no air conditioning in that unit. You don't want to fix it.
So that's off the
I
table.
want him out.
The job tonight is decide whether or not, well, obviously, we have a certificate of compliance. We have accrued fines of $2,350, and your job tonight is to determine whether or not the violation occurred and whether or not the fines are fair and reasonable.
I feel like the violation occurred, but
Well, hang on, you can save that,
Yeah, you can make
save that for the discussion period. So at this point, and if there's no other questions for the property manager or the code enforcement officer, I will, looks like council wants to say anything, okay. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
In case number 21-0564, move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code did exist on the property located at 417 Bellevue Avenue. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidences, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the respondent be found to be a repeat violator as defined by City Code, Section 1-63, because the respondent has been found to have violated the same provision of the City Code within the previous 5 years, regardless of property address. I further move that the daily fine be assessed for the repeat violators from the time the notice of the repeat violation until the time of the repeat violations are corrected. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $235 total for 10% of the total asking amount per, I didn't do the, I don't know the per day amount there, but
Okay, you can
it's a lot of math.
do a lump sum.
Yeah, 230, 10%.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Okay, so just to be clear, the motion is a lump sum of $235 for both for including both violations. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, we have a motion on the floor, we have a second, we have no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries, the fine is $235.
How do we pay that?
You just go down to the city hall and pay it. Come down here, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and if it is, you can get a hold of Tom and he'll tell you exactly,
I appreciate it.
who to give the check to. Kristen gets it? Okay. City clerk, okay? Payable to the city of Temple Terrace, given to the city clerk. Thank you. Next case, please.
Repeat case number 210430, City versus Mary Hirschfield for the property located at 714 East River Drive. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 10(3)B, sanitation grass weeds, and Section 1034, sanitation keep premises clean. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Jose Silva. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, again, board members. Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This is a repeat violation. I presented this case to the MCEB on February 12, 2020, MCEB 195722, for an operative vehicle, duty to keep premise clean, stained walls, overgrown yard grass. Prior to the MCEB, 2 of the violations were brought into compliance. The respondent was found guilty and assessed a fine of $20 a day beginning March 12, 2020, until the violations were corrected. The violations were corrected and the property brought into compliance before any fines accrue. On inspection on January 26, I noted the carport, porch, and yard cluttered with trash, vehicle parts, along with the yard grass being overgrown. I left door hangers with compliance date of January 31st, 2021. On February 1st, 2021, I noticed no change, so I completed a notice of repeat violation. Posted the notice at the front door of the residence, as well as City Hall, and mailed both copies certified and regular mail to the registered owner. On February 10th, 2021, and February 22nd, 2021, I re-inspected the property and found no change. On Saturday, March 3rd, 2021, I noticed the front yard grass cut, and that violation brought into compliance. On today's date, March 6th, correction, yes, on March 6th, I conducted another inspection at the residence and found the cluttered carport was cleared, and I have an affidavit of compliance. I have 12 photographs to submit of the notice posted at the front door, overgrown yard, porch with trash, carport, vehicle parts, and yard, porch with trash and garbage.
We'll accept those, thank you.
I'm also going to submit the MCEB order with it.
Okay, thank you.
Beginning January 26, 2021, until the property was brought in compliance for the overgrown grass, was 40 days. At $800 and
$20 a day is $800.
$20 a day, so at 800. Then the duty to keep premise clean was out for 43 days for $860, for a total of $1,660. The reason I'm requesting this amount, this is the third time this property has been brought in front of the MCEB. Sir, and I'd like to submit the affidavit of compliance.
Thank you, we'll accept that. Any additional questions for the code officer?
Did you talk to the property owner? Is it, it's not a rental, is it?
No, it's owner occupied. No, and I did not, have not spoken to the owner.
I think is someone here to,
Yes, there's, yeah. Any other questions?
What is your recommendation for the time?
Grand total of $1,660.
I can't hear you.
$1,660.
$1,660.
Any additional questions for the code officer?
Yeah, what was the result of the first two that we had cases under the same, I don't recall. I
They
didn't
were
know if
brought in
you did-
compliance.
Okay, so there's no fines
There's
assessed.
no fines on those.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, understand the respondent is here. Would you like to say anything? Ma'am? State your name and address for the record before you begin.
Mary Hirschfield, 714 East River Drive. The reason I had to get it's my son, the youngest, and I had to ask him to leave because he wasn't helping me at home, and it's just me. I work full time. I tried to buy a lawnmower, bought it, did it once, and then it broke. So my brother had to bring me a lawnmower. I'm still waiting on my stimulus checks. So it's just money is I'm by myself. I don't. I mean, I have my one son that works, but he's, helping me as much as he can, but he's got, a car payment and stuff, but it's the youngest son, so I asked him to leave because I've been telling him. So no cars that are there any longer, no parts, and I've told them, they do it when I'm at work, not they, the youngest who I've asked to leave my house because it's just me and my one son. So, I mean, it's just hard, trying to keep up the house, the mortgage and water and electric.
Any questions?
so who actually lives at the property?
Just me and my son.
Okay, so-
My other son,
You live there?
yeah.
I thought, I couldn't so you are Mary?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
here,
I
I'm sorry.
couldn't understand.
You currently have a working mower?
Well, my brother brought over his.
Okay.
The one that we got off of the thing broke, the string, and I have to find someone to fix it, but I'm still waiting on, I never got the second stimulus check, so
When the grass starts to grow again, you have the means to be able to cut it again.
hopefully I can get that one fixed.
Okay.
Hopefully this stimulus check will come. I'm still waiting.
Any other questions for the respondent?
So as far as the second violation, which is the keeping the premises clean,
That's like the carport, that's my son with his tools and the carports that he had on these old cars that he used to have, and he was trying to fix his own car. But now we don't have any old cars, we have working cars. And my transmission just went on my car like 3 months ago, so I had to come up with the money to fix it.
so hopefully you wouldn't, that violation wouldn't,
Repeat, no,
Repeat.
yeah, correct.
okay, thanks.
Any other, go ahead.
The compliance officer came over, how many times approximately?
Well, I've never seen him, except in here, because I worked 8 to 5.
Notice a violation, how many times did you say?
I believe-
Twice, 3, I mean, mostly for the yard and
I
the.
believe the prior testimony was this is the third time.
Okay, so, you see, to me, if you have a lot of junk and stuff on the porch and it comes 3 times, you don't move it, then I don't see the.
Well, I can't move, I mean, myself, I can't lift up like a transmission or a part of it.
No, but there was like this trash.
And I've asked, that's my son, my youngest son, and I've asked him to help, and that's why I have to ask him to leave.
All right, that's,
Looks like
that's,
your house, you would be responsible for cleaning that, so for 3 times, I think that's a problem. That's my opinion.
Okay.
any other questions for the respondent?
What are you asking us to do?
I need it reduced, obviously, I can't pay no 1,600.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to make my mortgage payment, keep it.
Okay, thank you.
So what would, sorry, Samir,
Go ahead.
what would the number that you would think wouldn't keep you, something you'd be able to pay, and then also enough to have money for a lawnmower so we can get you up to, you know,
I don't know.
what are you able
My
to do?
paycheck- I work paychecks to paycheck.
Right, I understand.
And I'm waiting on the second stimulus check, I haven't gotten that.
Right.
So I'm waiting on this, hopefully this new one will make me get the old one too, so I can,
Yeah,
repair the one lawnmower. Cause I don't know if my brother's gonna let me have his or take it back, I don't know. He dropped it off when I wasn't there.
yeah, it sounds like a tough situation, sorry you're in that. Well, thank you.
Okay, at this point, I'd entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll do one.
Thank you.
In case number 21-00000430, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence of the following violation. The city of Temple Terrace Code exists on the property located at 714 East River Drive in violation of section 10-3B. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the respondent be found to be a repeat violator as defined by the city code, section 1-63, because the respondent has been found to have violated the same provision of the city code within the previous 5 years, regardless of property address. I further move that a daily fine be assessed for the repeat violations from the time of the notice of the repeat violation until the repeat violations are corrected. In this case, they are corrected. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation and any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the total fine would be reduced by half. That is recommended by the code enforcement officer to be $800 in total, because of being a repeat violation that should have and could have been taken care of.
You have a motion, do we have a second?
I think the motion needs to be amended to include both, but there were 2 violations, correct?
So the $800 would amend that to cover all the violations. Yeah.
Covers all the violations.
But there's only really one, there's only one
Violation
violation.
and I'm sorry, and violation 10-34 as well, sorry.
David, I feel like this amount is high.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Hang on a second, we'll get there. So we have a motion, do we have we have a motion that's been amended, do we have a second? Seeing no second, motion fails for lack of a second. I still need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
In case number 21-0430, I move that the city is proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code existed at the property located at 714 East River Drive. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidences, including photos, affidavits, and notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the respondent be found to be a repeat violator as defined by city code, section 1-63, because the respondent has been found to have violated the same provision of the city code within the previous 5 years, regardless of property address. I further move that the daily fine be assessed for the repeat violations from the time of the notice of the repeat violation until the time of the repeat violations are corrected, upon considering the following factors: the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator. I move that the fine be $166 or 10% total.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? One nay, motion carries. Next case, please. So, ma'am, just so you understand, the fine has been imposed of $166, payable within 30 days to the city clerk. Okay? If, you also have the option to come back and ask for a fine lien reduction, since the property has been brought into compliance. No, I guess she doesn't, because there's no lien, right? Yeah.
This is the opportunity to get the, it's already in compliance. The idea of coming back for the fine reduction is those cases where they're not
You
in
don't have that
compliance.
option. The fine is $166 payable within 30 days.
There's no deadline.
There's no deadline?
There's no deadline for this. I don't believe so.
Okay,
No, because they're in compliance, yeah.
you're in
Yeah,
compliance, okay.
there's no deadline to pay.
There's no 30-day deadline for the payment of the fine?
No, it'll just be recorded as a lien on the property of 160.
Okay, so I guess the short answer is sorta, kinda. We, certainly, I think the city clerk would like a check, but if you need a couple months to pay that, then that's what it takes. Say again? You bring a check down to the city clerk, and once you're here, you call, and they'll come out and meet you, yeah. Okay? All right, next case, please.
Okay.
Are we back in order?
We're back in order, yes.
Well, we're not quite back in order. We're gonna take the officers, all of their cases at one time, so they don't have to keep.
So we're gonna be bouncing around, just have to pay attention to the case numbers.
That we do.
So, case number 205917, City versus James Chacho, for the property located at 5416 Rainbow Drive.
Should be the second case on your first page.
Yes. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of section 128593, RVs, boats, and trailers, non-commercial. Case will be prosecuted this evening by a code compliance officer, Jose Silva. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members. Again, Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated proactively on December 15, 2020. My inspection at the time noted a flatbed utility trailer in the carport area of the residence. I left a door hanger with a compliance date of December 17, 2020. My inspection on December 29, 2020 noted no change, so I completed notice of violation with a compliance date of January 1st, 2021. Posted a notice at the front door of the residence as well as City Hall. Copies were mailed, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the registered owner. During my inspection on January 6, 2021, I noted the trailer was gone, so I closed the case, placing the property in compliance. On February 9th, 2021, I observed the trailer again in the driveway of the residence. As it was within 45 days of the violation reoccurred, I set the case for MCEB. This time I'd like to submit 2 photographs. Exhibit 1 is going to be the notice posted at the front door, and Exhibit 2 is going to be the trailer in the driveway on February 9th, 2021.
Thank you. We'll accept those.
As of today's date, the property is in compliance. I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance, and I'm asking for a finding.
We'll accept that. Thank you. Any questions for the code officer? And the respondent is not here, so I'll entertain a motion.
All right, I'll take this.
Thank you.
All right, in case number 20-5917, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code did exist on the property located at 5416 Rainbow Drive, Code Section 12-859, subsection 3. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, Jose Silva, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that no fine be imposed because the violation was brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion carries. Next case, please.
We will go to the first case,
Okay.
case number 25128.
Thank you.
City versus CAPC Affordable Rental Fund LLC for the property located at 10367 Councils Way. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 810213B. Exterior walls maintained in good repair.
Can you say the address again?
10367 Councils Way.
Okay, I have 13067.
10.
I have 130. You said 103.
That's what we have here. 103.
What? It's 10367.
Okay, well, my paper says 130. So 10367 is the correct address?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated by me on October 23rd, 2020 for stained exterior walls. I left a door hanger with a re-inspection date of November 3rd. My re-inspection on January 5th showed no change, so a notice of violation was prepared on that date with a compliance date of January 29th. I posted the notice on the site, and the notice was also posted at City Hall, and copies were mailed, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the owner of record. My re-inspection on February 17th showed no change, so a notice of hearing was prepared on that date, and the case was scheduled for the March Municipal Code Board meeting. This time I'd like to submit photographic evidence of the site taken by myself on January 6th and February 17th, 2021.
We'll accept that. Thank you.
Exhibit number 1 shows the posting of the notice of violations. Exhibits 2, 3, and 4 show the stained exterior walls. The site is now in compliance, and I'm submitting an affidavit of compliance and seeking a finding.
We'll accept that. Thank you. Any questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay. In case number 20-5128, I move the city is proven by a greater weight of evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace Code did exist on the property located at 10367 Councils Way, applicable code 8-102, subsection 13, subsection B. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there be no fine imposed because the violations were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion carries. Next case, please.
Case number 26061, City versus Abdullah Hafiz Atiyah for the property located at 10314 Councils Way. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 810213B. Exterior walls maintained in good repair, Section 12861E6, fences appearance, and Section 12922A, parking commercial vehicle and residential district. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Doug Allen. The city has evidence of the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated by me on December 22nd, 2020 for stained exterior walls, a wooden privacy fence in disrepair, and a commercial vehicle parked in a residential zone. I left 3 door hangers with a reinspection date of January the 14th, 2021. My reinspection on February 3rd showed no change, so a notice of violation was prepared on that date with a compliance date of February 17th. Posted the notice at the site as well as at City Hall, and copies were mailed, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the owner of record. My reinspection on February 25th showed no change, so a notice of hearing was prepared on that date, and the case was scheduled for the March Municipal Code Board meeting. This time I'd like to submit photographic evidence of the violations taken by me on February 3rd and February 25th, 2021.
We'll accept those, thank you.
Exhibit number 1 shows the posting of the notice of violation. Exhibit number 2 shows the fence in need of repair, and exhibit number 3 shows the stained wall. I have had contact with the resident, and he provided information on how to bring this, and I provided him with information on how to bring the site into compliance. The resident did pressure wash the walls, but one small area was omitted at that time. Currently, the site is in compliance with all the violations. I'm submitting an affidavit of compliance, and I'm seeking a finding.
Thank you, we'll accept that. Any questions for the code officer? Being none, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay. In case number 20-6061, I move the city has proven by greater weight of the evidence that following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code did exist on the property located at 10314 Council's Way, applicable code section 8-102-13B, 12-861E6, 12-922A. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the Code Enforcement Officer, Doug Allen, along with any evidence, including photos, affidavit, and notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there will be no fine imposed because of the violation were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Next case, please.
Next case will be case number, and I believe the correct case number in this, yours might say 20-0200, but it's 21-0200. And that's City versus Ibrahim Mustafa for the property located at 10373 Council's Way. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 8, 102.13K, hardware screens, maintain in good repair. Section 1034, sanitation, keep premises clean. Section 10.3B, sanitation, grass, weeds. Section 8, 102.13C, roofs, maintain in good repair. And Section 8, 102.13B, exterior walls, maintain in good repair. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Doug Allen. City has evidence that the notice of violation and the notice of hearing were both properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated by a citizen complaint on January 12, 2021. On that date, I inspected the site and observed the following violations: damaged screens, overgrown conditions, and debris in a damaged roof in the backyard, and stained and damaged exterior walls. I went directly to a notice of violation with a reinspection date of February 2nd, 2021. My reinspection on February 17th showed little change, so I prepared a notice of hearing and scheduled the case for the March Municipal Code Board meeting. This time I'd like to submit photographic evidence taken by myself on January 12th and February 17th, 2021.
We'll accept those, thank you.
Exhibit number 1 shows the posting of the notice of violation. Exhibit number 2 shows a pile of debris on the site. Exhibit number 3 shows the missing damaged screen and roof, as well as wall staining, and exhibit number 4 shows damaged wood trim. I have had contact with the resident, and they had been out of state, and they had planned to begin work on the violations this past week, but the person assisting them has come down with COVID, and they will need additional time to complete the needed repairs. So the site is not in compliance, and I'm seeking a ruling.
Thank you. Well, do you have a, so there's no notice of continued violation, just it's still in violation?
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for the
So none of the violations have been corrected?
No, sir. I would expect if the gentleman that was gonna assist him is able to be back on his feet, or he can get someone else, I would hope that within 30 days is the board's typical time period to help someone come into compliance, that he should be in compliance. If not, then we'll be back next month.
Does anybody live in there?
The gentleman apparently would go, I think he's either in New Jersey or New York, and would come down for the winter, but I guess due to COVID for the last 2 winters, he has not come down. So the site has been vacant for at least close to 2 years.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Someone?
I'll do it.
Thank you.
Just a regular violation, right, existing?
Yeah.
In case number 21-0200, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code did exist at the property located at 10373 Council's Way. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of the hearing. I further move that said violations be corrected on or before April 14th. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violations continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
Okay.
And just for clarity on that, I think there's 5 violations, so it's 25 a day. Is that correct, or is that kind of up to me?
You mean per excuse me, per violation, or?
Typically, it's per violation.
Right. I just was foreseeing the, him getting 3 up to, I'd prefer it be 25 total, because I think 125 is unreasonable. So I'll make my motion $25 total.
That's fine, but for the record, if you would just list the code violations, enter them into the record as part of your motion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Would you like me to do that?
Yes.
Okay. The applicable codes are 10-34 sanitation, 10-3 subsection B sanitation, 8-10-2 subsection 13 subsection C, roofs maintained in good repair, 8-102 subsection 13 subsection K, hardware maintained in good repair, 8-102-13 subsection 13 subsection B, exterior walls.
It's actually section 102-13B, not 8. I'm sorry, you're right, it is 8. I'm sorry. Okay, so we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
I'll second it just to open for discussion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes. I just feel like that to be consistent with what we've done in the past, normally for multiple violations, we do it more than $25. And also, this was initiated by a citizen complaint, so I would like to encourage the owner to make the repairs, so I'm not in favor of the $25. I'm not gonna support the $25. If that's what you're asking, $25 total per day, I won't support that.
I would say 125, like 25 per. I think that's high as well, but I agree, 25 a day for all of it. It seems a little low, especially with that back roof. I mean, it could potentially be a safety issue. So, and if it's vacant for that long, it's just inviting. Working in insurance as long as I have it, just vacant homes just invite bad things.
It seems reasonable.
What was your number then?
Well, he has to,
I would be happy to amend it to something that
10 times,
collectively we thought was maybe less than 125, but
less than 25.
it's a tough one because there's 5, so it's like
10 per violation, so it's be 50 about.
I'd be happy to amend
That would be
to
very,
50. Would that suit? Or Bill, would you be comfortable to
I
support
think
it
it's a
then?
little bit, yeah. And I'm aware, I like the issue that having also a safety issue would be also
And the gentleman has, COVID and,
COVID and all
wanted to be
out of the
somewhat
state and cannot
So-
come back. And
So there is a suggestion to amend the motion to $10 per violation for a total of $50 per day. And you have agreed to amend your motion to that. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amended,
Just real quick, just technicality, person seconded, do you second that amended motion?
I'll second that motion.
so we have a motion, we have a second, we have an amended motion, we have a second on the amended motion, we have no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Next case, please.
Case number 210260, City versus Natalie Anderson for the property located at 105 Deer Park Avenue. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 10(3)B, sanitation, grass weeds, Section 1034, sanitation, keep premises clean, and Section 810213C, roofs, maintain in good repair. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Doug Allen. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated by a citizen complaint on January 15th, 2021. On that date, I observed the following violations: overgrown conditions, debris throughout the yard and the carport and porch area, and a damaged soffit on the side of the residence. I went directly to a notice of violation with a reinspection dated January 29th. My reinspection on February 17th showed no change, so a notice of hearing was prepared and the case was scheduled for the March Municipal Code Board meeting. This time I'd like to submit photographic evidence taken by me on January 15th and February 17th, 2021.
Thank you, we'll accept those.
Exhibit number 1 shows the posting of the notice of violation. Exhibit number 2 shows the damaged soffit. Exhibit number 3 shows overgrown conditions and assorted debris. Exhibit number 4 shows the debris on the carport. And exhibit number 5 shows the area by the front door with debris. And exhibit number 6 shows the area on the left side of the residence. At this time, the site is not in compliance and I'm seeking a ruling.
Any further questions for the Code Compliance Officer?
Have you talked to the homeowner?
I have not any contact with him.
Phil, did you have a different question?
Yeah, so none of the violations are in compliance once in this.
The grass has been mowed, but with the issues I've had with the site in the past, I can't guarantee that it's going to stay that way, so I didn't bring that portion into compliance.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Okay.
What would be your suggested fine for this?
That's a good one. Well, I mean, obviously our goal is to get the site to come into compliance, and I kind of thought that he has made some progress as far as a little bit of the debris by the front door and the carport's been straightened. I wouldn't say it's been removed or brought totally into compliance, but it does look a little better than it did. Just not really sure. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I would say this, that for repeat violations, then certainly,
Yeah, this is not a repeat.
well, extended length, what kind of length of time is, from January the 15th? Okay, so that's a couple months' time. You know, after a couple months' time, then, of course, common sense would tell you that if you're assessed a fine, then you're gonna find a way to take care of it, rather than just saying, no, it's okay. Well, I think that's what we're all here for tonight. It's not okay.
Is
No,
the resident, is it,
What fines are for.
is the residence occupied?
Yes, the residence is occupied. I believe it's the son of the actual owner of the site. He was assessed a fine in the past, and that took quite a while to get that resolved as well. So I'm not sure that, you know, I mean, I would like, obviously, feel that a fine's responsible, but I don't know that it's necessarily no, it was for something else.
This is not a repeat, this is a new violation. I don't, that's not his role to figure that
Yeah,
out.
since I've had no
They're
contact.
not
with
here
him,
tonight to speak for themselves, unfortunately.
Did they have any response back to him? Are they asking
I haven't,
more time?
I haven't heard from
Yeah,
He hasn't heard.
the resident.
yeah, that's why I asked if they've had any contact, so.
Do we know if the first fine was ever paid for the last
He
violation?
did come for a lien reduction probably a little over a year ago, if I had to guess, and I believe it was finally paid.
Good, so it's a good motivation that is proven to work in the case of, you know.
Any other questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll take this one. All right, in case number 21-0260, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exist on the property located at 105 Deer Park Avenue. Code sections are 10-3B, 10-34, and 8-102, subsection 13, subsection C. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, Doug Allen, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that said violations be corrected on or before April 14th. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they're ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violations continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $50 per day.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is that $50 per violation, or, so it's $25 per violation?
Yeah, I thought we, just to, not to sidetrack too much, but didn't we decide that we were no longer gonna do it on a per violation?
Well, it usually is on a
Make
per
it simple-
violation
simpler
basis.
for the, I thought that was,
No,
We did have a discussion about that. It's not gonna be per violation.
right,
It's just
A
gonna be
lump sum,
okay,
right,
because it was harder for them to manage the,
okay,
right.
that's fine. Okay, so it's $50 per day. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second that.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion carries. Next case, please.
Case number 21-0304, City versus Gordhan and Vishnu Kumar Patel and Winners Food Store for the property located at 12112 North 56th Street. Cases before the board based on alleged violation of Section 1459, local business tax required. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Lori Smith. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, Lori Smith, Code Compliance. This case originated from the Finance Department on January 19th, 2021. I met with the store attendant that day and left a door hanger with the compliance date of the 27th of January 2021. A check with Sarah Sims at customer service noted no change, therefore a notice of violation was prepared on the 2nd of February and was hand-delivered by me to Sarah Jampani with the compliance date of the 12th of February 2021. My inspection on the 26th of February 2021 revealed no change. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence taken by me on March the 1st showing Winners Food Mart is located within the city limits. Also a screenshot of showing the business is inactive in 2021 local business tax. That's from our system, computer system.
Thank you. We'll accept that. Any questions for the code officer?
Mr. Chairman, exhibit number 1 does show the business storefront. The business is open to the public, as well exhibit 2 screenshots showing that it was inactive local business tax.
You mentioned that you kind of went out of your way to make sure it was in Temple Terrace. Are they making a claim that they're not in Temple Terrace?
No, sir. They're not saying that, just to prove they are within the Temple Terrace.
Has there been any discussion with the property owner?
Yes, sir. As of today's date, Mr. Chairman, the site is now in compliance, and at this time, I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance. I'm just looking for a finding, sir.
Thank you. We'll accept that.
So,
Any other questions?
yeah, they were out of compliance for multiple years, if I'm reading this correctly, and
Yes, sir. I was informed by Ms. Sarah Sims in customer service that was the case. I guess some fines had accrued by not paying the local business tax. 3 notices had been mailed out, and then I guess the fines had started. So They had to pay a little bit more to bring the property into compliance, but they did.
So that was my next question. So you retroactively apply whatever, if they were out of compliance for more than this year, they have to pay for those years they,
Yes, sir.
okay, okay.
Which have all been paid, otherwise they wouldn't.
Yes, they all
Otherwise
have
they
been
would not.
brought into compliance.
That was just for my own personal knowledge. Yeah, thanks.
So they're all caught up, they're in
Yes, sir.
compliance, and we're just looking for a finding.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
In case number 21-0304, I move the city is proven by a greater weight of evidence that the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace Code did exist on the property located at 12112 North 56th Street, Code Section 14-59. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move there be no fine imposed because the violations are brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Next case, please.
Next case will be case number 210321, City versus Ramja LLC and Desired Image for the property located at 13280 North 56th Street. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 1439, local business tax required. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Lori Smith. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, board members. Lori Smith, Code Compliance. This case originated from the Finance Department on January the 20th, 2021. I met with the front desk manager that day and hand-delivered a door hanger with the compliance date of the 28th of January, 2021. A check with Sarah Sims at customer service noted no change, therefore a notice of violation was prepared on February the 3rd, 2021, and was hand-delivered by me to Ms. Santiago with a compliance date of the 15th of February 2021. My inspection on the 26th of February 2021 revealed no change. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence taken by me on March the 1st showing desired images located within city limits. Also a screenshot showing the business is inactive with 2021 local business taxes.
We'll accept those. Thank you. Any questions for the code officer? Are they currently,
No, sir. As of today's date, the site is not in compliance and I'm seeking a ruling. No, sir. It hasn't been that long. It's only been since the 3 renewal notices were mailed out last year, the tail end of last year, I want to say. So a couple months.
and that's really, that's kind of immaterial because tonight's hearing is to figure out whether or not they were in violation or are currently in violation. And then, we give them to the next meeting to come into compliance, or a fine starts after that. So how long they've been out of compliance, it doesn't, right now they're not, we haven't determined whether or not there's been no motion to determine whether or not to say they were out of compliance, okay?
Did you say that you've been in touch with the owner? I don't remember.
Yes, sir. Mr. Snelling, I have. I've talked to Ms. Santiago twice pertaining to the local business tax. She is aware, and we have a payment pending status of this afternoon. That payment would be waiting to be processed. So I would imagine, sir, within a couple days.
So it's been made, it just hasn't processed through yet.
Payment pending status this afternoon before I came into council.
Okay.
30 days, it'll always get caught up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any further questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
All right, I'll do this one.
Thank you.
In case number 21-0321, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence that the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace Code exist on the property located at 13280 North 56th Street. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the Code Enforcement Officer, Lori Smith, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that said violations be corrected on or before April 14th. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violation continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violation committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
Actually, Mr. Chair, should have mentioned this before the motion was due. I'm interrupted.
Okay,
This is business
I was on a roll.
tax, failure to pay the business tax, and statutorily, this type of violation, the cap on that fine is $250 by statute.
Okay.
Total. Okay, so.
Got the 250, but we can still have a $25 per day, but not to exceed 250.
Okay, so I just need to amend my
Now,
motion.
and that's statutory, so does that need to be in the motion?
I think it will be cleaner if it's in your motion.
Okay, so if you would amend your motion to
Yep.
include that.
Okay, so I'll amend it to say that the fine be $25 per day with a total cap of $250.
Okay, we have an amended motion. Do we have a second? Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. I think that's the end of our list, right?
That's the end of hearings.
Yes, that's the end of our hearings. On to the next section, unfinished business.
Okay. Case number 24997, City versus Timothy Thibodeau for the property located at 113 Glenridge Avenue. That deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. Case number 25214, City versus Timothy Thibodeau for the property located at 113 Glenridge Avenue. An affidavit of non-compliance was submitted by Officer Allen for Section 828A1 dated February 11th, 2021. Case number 26111, City versus Rod Hamill for the property located at 6125 East 110th Avenue. An affidavit of non-compliance was submitted by Officer Lori Smith. That's an affidavit of compliance for that one. And that was submitted by Officer Smith for Section 103B dated January 14th. Actually, should have been day after the last meeting, February 11th.
Okay, but as of tonight's hearing, it's in compliance.
It's in compliance.
Okay.
And then case number 26161, City versus Timothy Thibodeau for the property located at 113 Glenridge Avenue. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Officer Allen dated March 2nd, 2021. And then I have one more that's just not on the agenda.
Okay.
So this is one on our liens list. Case number 23967, City versus SWH 2017-1. Borrower LP for the property located at 8518 Queen Brooks Court. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Officer Allen dated February 18th, 2021.
Thank you. Okay, next is other board actions. Is there any other board action? Seeing none, we have no lien petitions. Last section, new business. Not really new business, a couple things I just wanted to mention before we close out tonight's meeting. One is, thank you, we've had some good discussion tonight. You guys are starting to get it. The other thing, I would please implore you to wait to be recognized. It's very difficult for her to take the minutes down. We don't do verbatim minutes, but it's very difficult when there's multiple people speaking and you got the respondent up here or the code officer. Just please, I know you have a lot to say and I want you to say it, but just wait to be recognized so that we can keep the record clean. That's all I have. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if anybody else had any interest in sort of a continuation of the workshop that we had last meeting? We had the workshop, maybe more of an open forum where we could discuss maybe consistencies and some of the questions that people have, and would that be good? Because we really if I remember right, we kind of ran out of time and we didn't really have an opportunity to ask questions. And we have a lot of new members. I just thought it might be worth.
I was just curious, how much time do you need before the next hearing, or whenever you want to do it? 30 minutes, an hour?
Yep.
But, I mean, we could probably do it all night, but, once you open up the gates, right? I'm not opposed to it, but I think, maybe let's split the baby and say 45 minutes earlier, that we start at 6:30, if you guys got here at 5:45, would that work for everybody?
Works for me.
First of all, I probably will not be here next time. It's April the 14th, and I'm not gonna be here. I already know that. 'Cause
Okay.
it's too difficult of a time, and we talked about this, and it just needs to be a question and answer. It's not a presentation. That's not what we want. We want a question and answer, because we have the questions, and so we could go on, like you said, for a week.
Yeah.
But it's the questions and answer format is what we're talking about.
Right. Well, since you're not gonna be here,
Yeah, it's fine, no problem. Whatever you want.
well, what I want to try to do maybe is, if you want to take the time to submit some of your questions,
Yeah, okay.
and that way we can get answers for you, and maybe that way you can have a phone call with the attorney afterwards and get your questions answered. They'll be answered at the workshop, but since you won't be here, it'll give you an opportunity to have your questions asked and answered.
Sure.
If that's okay with you.
What about May? Do you think you'll be here for May, or?
You want to postpone until May? Or do you
Yeah, I
think-
mean, I'm
Okay.
good with that.
Is everybody good in May?
Fine.
All right, let's set it up at 5:45 before our meeting in May, and we'll do it then. And I think it still might be a good idea. And Ernie, correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys have questions ahead of time, don't pepper him every day with it, but gather your thoughts, put together your questions ahead of time, and that way, if he needs to do some research or something, he has that opportunity to do so.
Right, if you would, just submit them to Kristen,
Kristen, yeah.
Yeah.
and then she'll get them to me, obviously. And I did want to, up here, because I want to remind the board, I don't know if anybody's seen the YouTube channel. Brian in the back did a great job of, that workshop is up there for you guys to watch again, because I am sure it'll make for a great rerun. I'm sure you'll want to see it again.
Already watched it 5 times, man.
I know, it's good, isn't it? It gets better each time.
Yeah.
And I just want to commend him for the split screen, for lack of a better term, that
Yeah.
we're now getting, which is very helpful to me, anyway.
Agreed.
I think he's done a great job on that. Anybody else have anything? Okay, again, thank you guys for good discussion tonight, but please, in the future, just wait to be recognized. I know you all got lots to say, and I want you to have the opportunity to say it, but it's got to be one at a time. Otherwise, the record gets a little muddy. Thank you. You have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
A second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.